Hey, what's up, everyone? Back for this Wednesday slate. We have 14 games tonight, 28 teams in action. Gonna be a crazy slate. Let's break it down. Starting off here at point guard. Before we get started, you can like the video down below and subscribe if you haven't already. Starting off at point guard, at the top you got LeBron, you got Harden, you got Trae Young. Kind of prefer Young on Fanduel. 99 is fine on Draftkings, but the matchup's not super easy, even though it's a good matchup, just in terms of pace. But Bledsoe is a good defender. And then you got Damian Lillard down here, 8,600. He definitely is viable against OKC. But there's just a couple of really mispriced point guards on the slate. And it starts with Kemba Walker at 6,700. He should never be 6,700. I don't know what DraftKings algorithm does. Seems like whenever a player misses some games, he's always underpriced when he comes back. He only missed one game, and they dropped his price by over $1,000 from his last game. It's dropped basically $2,000 from where he's been in the month of November in the 8Ks. This matchup is amazing against Brooklyn. They play fast. They don't play defense. They're still going to be missing Kyrie Irving. So Walker at home at this price tag is just ridiculous for the amount of upside and ceiling he has. A 50-point ceiling at $6,700. Not something you see very often. Gotta be one of my favorite plays at point guard. Over at shooting guard, I like DeMar DeRozan, 7,400. I think is pretty viable. Maybe Zach LaVine, 7,100. Lou Williams, because I expect Kawhi to rest here. He's at 69. He's another guy that's in play, but I like DeRozan. He's been heating up as of late, playing solid amount of minutes in competitive games. He has been super consistent, hasn't dropped under 30 fantasy points since the 9th of November, and consistency is what we like to see from DFS players. He still has that high upside, and just lately he's been a lot more aggressive shooting the basketball, and he's been a little bit more aggressive on the boards. So in this matchup against Minnesota, it's a really good matchup. Shooting guards and forwards have, as you see, they've done well against this team. They play fast. They don't play great defense. Wiggins not a very good defender, even though he has improved his offensive game this year. At home, DeRozan, and also I expect this game to be close, so we should see a full amount of minutes from DeRozan. This price tag in this matchup is still appealing. I mean, the price tag should not drop going from the Lakers matchup, a tough matchup against one of the best defensive teams in the league, to one of the poorest defensive teams in the league, and his price tag dropped by $300. So that's something that shouldn't happen. He's also at home in this one. Definitely love DeMar DeRozan. Over at small forward, just because I expect Kawhi to rest here in a back-to-back. Gotta love Paul George. His usage rate should be insane without Kawhi in there tonight. Possibly, probably he's not going to play. Last time out, he had 6 steals, which really got the job done, but he only had to play 29 minutes because it was a blowout. In this one, you can expect, if this game happens to stay close, the Grizzlies aren't a very good team either. This one could easily turn into a blowout, but if it happens to stay close, you could see him push for 33 to 35 minutes. And without having to share the rock with Kawhi, can easily get you 50, 55, 60 fantasy points if his shot starts to fall. He's still been struggling with his shot. 8 of 21, 6 of 20, 4 of 15 the last 3 games. But at least he's getting it done with the defensive categories. You always know he's one of the best defensive players in the league. And he can definitely get the rebounds if he has to play some. If he has to kind of take Kawhi's position, and Kawhi kind of just play small forward, power forward, George will probably have to shift in that position. Will be in a better position to get some rebounds. So 86 for Paul George. Really good matchup, fast-paced against Minnesota, not great defensively. Against Memphis, not great defensively. And who's going to match up against him? Dylan Brooks, maybe Jaren Jackson. That's going to be a nightmare, but it's just a really good spot for George, assuming Kawhi's out. At center, I like a couple guys here. It's going to start with, I think Aldridge is definitely in play at 6,900. He's also been playing good basketball as of late. He started off the season really slow, but lately it's been the Aldridge and DeRozan show like it was last year, and that's what kind of got the team. That's what carried them the whole year. Right now they're off to a disappointing start, but if they go back to just having Kawhi and Aldridge, having DeRozan and Aldridge dominate, then they could be a lot better, at least in terms of fantasy. But Whiteside is still appealing at 6,600. Only had to play 23 minutes against the Bulls, which was disappointing because if he played his normal amount of minutes, would have easily put up 45, close to 50 fantasy points the way he was going. Had a double-double, within like 15, 20 minutes of that game. This game against OKC, it's a tougher matchup against Steven Adams, but at least he's going to see minutes. Can't really have this game go small here with Adams and Nerlens Noel out there, so Whiteside stays out of foul trouble. You should see him push for his full amount of minutes, and he has been up to 34, 35 minutes when he's playing well and in competitive games. So we know Whiteside's always a permanent monster. At this price tag, he's still viable. His price tag should be like it was in October, like 72 to 7,600. 66 at home is still very appealing, just because at center, great guy to get double-doubles, blocks. And we'll see a lot of minutes, and he's always been a permanent monster, and now we know he's getting minutes. And the other mispriced point guard on the slate is Ricky Rubio. He's missed a couple games with a back injury, but as you see, just like Kemba Walker, his price tag has dropped $2,000 where it's been since like November 14th, 10th through the 14th. This matchup is amazing. The Suns have one of the highest totals on the slate. Matched up against Isaiah Thomas, Rubio should be able to do whatever he wants offensively, get everybody involved, even be able to create his own shot and put buckets in. He's never been a good shooter, but when you basically have nobody guarding you, like it will be in this matchup, he should be able to score 15, 20 points at least, I would assume. And the peripherals are always here with Rubio, always a great guy to get assists, always a chance for a triple-double sometimes. Just because he is getting rebounds as well. Just too good of a spot at home for him to be at 5,500. And last but not least, I like Enes Kanter here. I hope some people get off of him just because the price tag is up to 5,000. But this matchup against Brooklyn, they have struggled against centers all year. One of the worst teams in the league against centers in terms of just fantasy points against. Kanter only played 25 minutes against the Kings, and that's probably what they're going to do. They're going to split him and Robert Williams, but Kanter is definitely the more offensive center of the two, the definitely more skilled player. He was one rebound shy of a double-double as well. This game, I'm expecting a double-double out of him. And we've seen him have monster games in just limited amount of minutes in the past when he was with the Knicks and when he was with the Blazers. So I think he's still viable at 5,000, even though the price tag is up. So that's what I'm liking for Draftkings as of now. I feel like we got some high upside guys in here. Got some way too cheap options like Walker and Rubio, and still filled it out with some studs like George, DeRozan, Whiteside. So, like I said, if we get changes, I'll post it on Twitter here before lock. And then over on Fanduel at point guard here, we have Trae Young at 9,600. He's the most expensive guy that's playing tonight. He's been playing great basketball, playing good minutes, big minutes in close games. And then you have Lillard priced below him. Lillard has still been struggling with his shot. Of the two, Lillard definitely has a little bit more to compete with offensively with CJ McCollum, and now Carmelo Anthony's been shooting the ball a ton, and they still have Whiteside there. Trae Young is basically just a one-man show right now. Him and maybe you can get some production from like Hunter or Parker, but nothing's guaranteed. You're going to get Young dominating the usage as usual. Racking up assists, points. He's been really good with the rebounding as of late, which is nice to see. And if he has just an outlier game in terms of steals, he can easily put up 60 fantasy points. Just because he hasn't done that a ton this year. But if this game, it's not really a great spot for them to stay close. But if Trae Young is able to keep them in it and play 34 to 38 minutes, he will dominate. You'll probably have a huge game because there's nobody else I would see that will be able to keep this game close. On the Hawks, at least. At shooting guard, I'll just name a couple guys that I like. At the top, it's Bradley Beal at 95. In the mid-range, it's Mitchell, Van Fleet, DeRozan, Williams. In the value, in the 7K range, it's CJ McCollum. It's Fournier at 6,500. It's Dennis Schroeder at 55. It's definitely Terrence Ross at 4,500. Galloway 45. And then even KCP I don't mind at 4,000. Out of that group, I like Terrence Ross here, 4,500, just because he's so cheap. Without Vucevic, without Gordon, he's having to take on a little bit more offensive role. He hasn't really translated into big fantasy points yet. I mean, he's only scored 15 and 20 in the 2 games, but the minutes are there, 27 to 29. And if he's playing well, he does close the game. So if he happens to have a good game shooting the ball off the bench, he will be in there to close. And we've seen him have big games in the past. They don't really have any offense. They've played Evan Fournier like 37 minutes last time out because they have nobody else really to take shots offensively with starting Kem Birch and Owundu. Owundu is so bad. I mean, they should just start Ross just because that guy cannot shoot at all. But at 4,500 against the Cavs, I think Ross can pay off a salary. If he gets hot, he can put up 30-plus fantasy points, and I don't know if that many people will be on him. At small forward, LeBron James at 11-2. Just love the matchup here, fast pace against the Pelicans. A really good spot for LeBron. He's been playing amazing all year, been super consistent. Playing next to Anthony Davis hasn't really limited his fantasy outlook. He's still been crushing night in and night out, and this is the type of matchup where he can put up 60 plus and maybe get you like close to 70 just because it's that good of a spot against the Pelicans. They play no defense. Teams have put up 120, 125 against them on a nightly basis, and then you get one of the better offensive teams in basketball with LeBron and Davis starting it off, leading the way for the Lakers. Love LeBron at 11-2. Power forward here, Davis is at 11-1. That, it's going to be tough to play Davis and LeBron. Maybe you want to go to Davis if you want to go to Davis because it's a revenge spot for him. I don't hate that, but it's going to be tough to fit both of them in just because their prices are they're both over 11,000 on Fanduel. The guy that I like here at power forward is Larry Nance, 7K. I mean, I like Larry Nance if Kevin Love's there, but I like Blake Griffin at 7K. Also, some value at power forward here would be Frank Kaminsky, who's at $4,000. Kaminsky at $4,000, or you can go check Diallo at 3,800. Both are viable. Kaminsky was in foul trouble, which is why Diallo played a lot of minutes, but Diallo played well enough to where he could get more minutes. And if he does happen to start in this game, then just lock him in on FanDuel. Even on Draftkings, he'll be one of the better value plays. So those are 2 value plays to consider. But I like Blake Griffin here at 7,000. The price tag is really nice. He hasn't had a big game yet. He's been struggling to shoot the basketball, but one of the best matchups you could ask for a power forward. Playing against the Hornets, they get crushed in the paint. Griffin, great matchup against a rookie in Washington, and he's gonna have 50, 60 fantasy point games like he did last year. It's just been a struggle for him. At least we know that the minutes are back up over 30. So if he gets minutes, he is going to be productive. And I think at this price tag on FanDuel, it's really nice just because he's so cheap. And then at center on FanDuel, I see myself going cheap with Enes Kanter at 4,500. The matchup's too good. The minutes are going to be there without Daniel Tice. And at 4,500, he can get you 30-plus fantasy points without blinking an eye because the matchup is great. He was able to make value, like I said, in 25 minutes. As a per-minute guy, he's been solid all for his entire career as per minute. I just wish that he was able to play 30-plus minutes because in that case, he would be super easy to get to. But I still think he can make value, even on FanDuel, because if he's not known for his defense, but if he managed to get blocks or steals, that would just raise his fantasy floor by a lot. So that's what I'm liking on the both sides for this huge slate. Thanks for watching. I appreciate it. You can like the video if you enjoyed, and good luck today.